Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever side of the diaspora that you may be on. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mental House. I am your host, Khadijah. Um, I want to talk about deep core issues of abandonment, and the effects that really has on our behavior when, as a child, we've had these issues again of abandonment, whether it's emotional abandonment, physical abandonment, mental abandonment. They are all bound to show up in our relationships, and I mean the residue of deep core abandonment issues are going to show up when you decide to get into a relationship with somebody else. Okay, now when the reason why I think this is such an important topic, such an important topic, because I don't think that a lot of folks give credence to whenever you are asking a child to suppress how they feel, as opposed to talking to them about how they feel or giving them a chance to express how they feel. Don't mean you won't change your mind about what you're going to do. But if the child is not given a chance to express how he feels, then what happens is it's inevitable. It cannot fail. It's just like almost like a grid in a puzzle. That kid is gonna grow up detached from his feelings, because he was never allowed to walk into his feelings. He's not allowed to examine his feelings. He's not even allowed to express his feelings. So once you keep it suppressing it, then you become detached from your own feelings. And so what happens is then you have a lot of people who therefore become fake, because they're not their authentic self. Because remember, they've been shut down at an early age. They've had times where they felt insecure and they wanted to cry, and the adult said, shut your mouth up. Shut up, I'm going to give you something to cry about. Or they were genuinely hurt, and they weren't allowed to express why they were hurt. Shut your mouth up. You cry too much. Shut up. If you want to cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about. Well, hell, I already got something to cry about. That's why I'm crying. And I think that because as adults, we're so frustrated sometimes with our lives and what is going on at the job or with the relationship, that we tend to not see our children as little people, little computers that are being downloaded with viruses, being downloaded with malware, human malware, and all of these things are going to have to be wiped out in order for that child, to perform and to act appropriately. I used to didn't believe that. I used to think that was such a mythical thing, and it was just some more of how do you say, European jargon and or whatever. But it's not a matter of a European or any black or white. It transcends that. It's how the mind operates. And everybody has a brain, irregardless of if they're white or black or what. It transcends all of that. Just like the light, if that's granted that you pay the electric bill, the principle of electricity will turn on irregardless of if the person is black or white, correct? Yeah. So there are certain things and attributes about us that are just something that you need to see. The brain and how it operates. And the madness that you see going on the planet right now, with all the craziness and the narcissism and this, is only because of childhood craziness and abuse. Either they watched it. This is why they can't get right, because it's self-perpetuating. It's self-perpetuating. It's very important, in my opinion, that we recognize that our own families may be killing us mentally. Our own families. Now, are they doing it on purpose? Hell no. Are they setting out to destroy us? In most cases, hell no. I would, at least that's what the better side of me wants to believe. The higher side of me wants to believe that. I'm an optimistic person. I'm not a pessimistic person by nature. Okay? And so that's why I get into a lot of debates with people, because I would rather see the higher side of human beings. And I don't think anything is wrong with that. Although I know that we're a human animal. So we're animals. We're just a human animal. We're the lion as well as the sheep. So, duh. I just want us to be very mindful of how we talk to children. That's my whole thing, because what happens is once you begin to build new babies, you build new people, you build new ways and ideologies of thinking. That has nothing to do void of your history of any of those things. What it has to do with, if you nurture the things that you need to nurture in your home before you send your child out into the woods, into the land with all these trees, if he has been taught the knowledge of himself, emotionally, mentally, physically, and he has been nurtured, paid attention to, adored, loved, wanted, you have set the road in motion for a new thinking person, for a well-rounded mind that will now be programmed with a whole different mantra, a whole different way of seeing life. Listen, in my opinion, I believe 20 years from now, maybe the whole psychology, the field of psychology, is going to be debunked. Because people are going to realize this is pseudoscience, and all this craziness comes from the families of origin. You already notice the effects of trauma. And so the more the trauma, the crazier the person. Now, somebody told me that Donald Trump's father was a Klansman. Okay? Now, that's something I never knew. If his father was a Klansman, then I'm sure he has a lot with it, not only with the structure of his DNA, he has extra because he's been brought up in a house where it was okay to demoralize other human beings. So to me, that's a point of contention, and that's a point to say, oh, okay, his family of origin, he has racists in it. So I'm not going, and they're race baiters. So, or they're comfortable with seeing niggas swinging from trees and stuff like that. While he may not admit that, and that might not be something that, he would participate in. A lot of white people have that in their history. Whereas we may have the history of being hung from the tree. And so it's hard for us to even trust these damn people at all. We like, no. But you kind of know what our mentality is We know that he's the one, and his family was okay with hanging. And you know that although we wasn't okay with it, we were the ones that had to be perpetually on guard for one of these people um, that was going to try to do this to us, hang us or kill us or whatever else. So we carried that dynamic. And so with that being said, this is how you have to encounter the families. If we don't begin to check out some of this stuff, we're going to perish as a group. Doesn't matter. Does anybody know what the result of war looks like? Why you think those Syrians and all those people or whatever are coming over here? Nobody wins in war. The great empire of America will fall if she continues to agitate, set no rules, set no boundaries. So that can't happen. So you got to look at America as a family, just like you look at your family as a family, right? This is the American family. So all I'm saying, and I'm gonna kind of cut this short because I feel myself rambling a little bit, but my point is, there's a lot of deep core issues of abandonment with white people thinking that they're abandoning their way of life, their old way. And they have these issues where, because race prejudice and the race problem that is in America is not black people's problem. It's really a white person's problem. They have the problem, we don't. Okay, they have the problem with us. We don't have the problem with them. It's them. So, and I'm saying that to say, because I tie it all in together, I know. Those of y'all who are focusing on them for a minute, stop. Focus in on what's going on in your family. Focus in on what's going on with your babies. Focus in on what's going on with your nieces and nephews and your cousins. And if it's a way that you can lead by example, and if it's a way that you can drop information off, or if it's a way that you might have to step up to save our babies before they get into foster care, that might be what you need to focus on right now. Because it's easier to love a child than to fix a broken man, i.e. Frederick Douglass quote. Right? So I hope I wasn't all over the place with that video, but you know, it is what it is. I'm past 50, y'all. Fuck it, I'm 50 and beyond. All right, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. I'm gonna try to come back a little bit later, right here in the mental house. Bye bye.